This is part one of 2 episodes.
G'day, folks! Welcome to the Binaural Cafe, where we explore an amazing variety of sounds captured in the wildest places and spaces. And we do it all in immersive sound for earphones. The special on the board today is, planes, trains, and cars. Automobiles.
Indeed, planes, trains, automobiles. I don't know if that was a saying before the movie or if the movie was titled for the saying, but it's a great phrase.
I want to think that John Candy came up with it.
Yeah, I do too, just because we miss him.
Yeah,
What a great guy.
I do miss him.
Great movie.
But great movie and great concept, especially when it comes to sound. Welcome to the Binaural Cafe. Today, I've got a collection of planes, trains, automobiles, and more to share with you guys, all in immersive binaural sound. So put your headphones on and get ready for a ride. For goodness sakes, I've almost forgot to introduce your buddies here at the coffee shop. On my left, your right, we've got Todd Hogue, who is a immersive recording studio engineer, an amazing guy. And on my right, your left, is Paul Gation, who's a live sound technician. And so you guys are bringing your perspectives, both to observe and query and just marvel in general at the beauty of sound. All right, so let's dig down to the very basic fundamental mode of transportation, which is
Legs, feet, toes.
legs, feet, and toes. Aside from crawling, slithering may have been at one point, but
Possibly swimming.
not the human species. I wouldn't say we slither, except late night when the pub closes. Might catch a few slitherers out there.
I've slithered.
You have slithered?
I have.
Hither and thither?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Who's that slathering slitherer?
and so, that's right. Walking is indeed. So I thought I was recently doing a series of soundscapes for a series that they have on Audible, which is all very peaceful, kind of a sleep sound project. And it included camping. And so I had to record myself doing that fundamental thing of walking. Or staggering, looking for my tent.
It didn't sound like a straight line.
It was after the music festival, I was looking for my way home. Anyway, that's sound of walking and the when you're doing work in recording, especially in binaural, any kind of immersive audio format, actually, the texture of the sound really helps the brain either locate or not really locate where a sound is. And so walking in gravel is really effective because it's just that crunch, grind, a lot of data there for the brain to chew on as it observes the motion of the sound. And so it was soon after walking that we moved into our next mode of transportation, which would have been,
The hang glider.
well, yes, true. But when I play the binaural recording of a hang glider, you just hear wind, so it's not very effective.
Right.
Paul?
Horse,
More or less.
buggy,
Horse and buggy or?
plane,
No.
motorcycle. Wow.
We went straight to the motorcycles. This is a group of Harley riders that I discovered in Taiwan on the East Coast. Basically what I'm doing, rather than tracing the evolution of the human species, I am tracing my own evolution, because I went from walking to motorcycles, up in the Yukon territory growing up as a kid, and owned several until it was that I finally got a 1967 Ford F-100, my first vehicle, four-wheeled, and which takes us to cars, in fact, and this is a real interesting recording of just a cacophony of traffic, which when you're in Southeast Asia, it can be pretty overwhelming, but it makes for a smorgasbord in binaural sound. Southeast Asian traffic scene would be complete without two-stroke motorcycles and scooters and because they don't have a lot of power, people are always just it's either full throttle or no throttle. It's just but it does make a great binaural scene.
Very cool.
Yeah, there's that constant din in the background, isn't there? It's interesting.
Yeah, you really, and that's what to me really captures the immersion of the environment is when you capture all of that, the essence of the din in the background and as you say, the texture, right, Matthew?
Yeah, and what's interesting too is when you're there, like as Paul knows, and yourself as well, both of you have been there, and you kind of, when you're in it all the time, you tune it out. Like, it's amazing how the brain can filter out sound. Like, we can be walking down the street, that's going on, and we can have a conversation for the most part. And we just filter out the sound, and after a while, you kind of don't notice it, but I personally believe there's a layer of stress going on when your brain is doing that and you're being bombarded by all that sound. But it's fascinating when you record it binaurally, because then you sort of pay attention to it and you realize, holy smokes, like we live in those we choose to live in those really noisy environments.
That's right. Yeah.
So along the same lines of big four-wheeled vehicles, I was in a tunnel on somewhere in central Taiwan, and it was a huge, really echoey tunnel, and this construction truck came along, and it was just sort of like a monstrous sound. I want to play this for you. It's like if you didn't know what that was, I don't know that you'd know what that
You
was.
think it was a large ocean wave coming through the tunnel
An ocean wave made of like corroding steel and
Just sounds like industry.
yeah.
That's cool.
It is a cool sound. It's a great sound for sound design. Like I do intend to do something with that someday. So moving on down, the title of our episode is Planes, Trains. We're not really going, obviously, in the order of things, but trains are something that have fascinated me. Not only sound-wise, but culturally. I grew up with a lot of folk music and American folk music. There's lots of music culture that comes from, people that were pretty down and out and used the trains, kind of hobos that would travel, and they'd write songs about that and just that train lifestyle. And I've always found that people that work with trains tend to be exceptionally cool people, conductors and the railwaymen, and really a neat, it's a whole world unto itself, but sonically, it's also a whole world unto itself. And whenever I have the chance to record them, because they often move from left to right really swift, it's kind of an experience, to be there, get as close as you can, and get the recording.
Little twerk.
Yeah, that funny
Twerk at the end.
It's
Not a twerk, a twerp. A twerk. What was that?
that you mean that
Twerp.
kind of quack quack kill
Yeah.
kill. Yeah, that's a really interesting sound. In the next recording, you'll hear it as well. And it's got something to do with the Doppler effect and how the sound of those rear wheels clacking over those joints in the rails are getting fed back to you.
Right.
Because the sound travels. Frequencies travel at different speeds as well. So you're getting different frequencies of the sound hitting you with that Doppler effect, the train moving away from you, doing a lot of weird manipulation. In fact, let's just listen to that again and listen for that funny sound at the end. It's neat. It almost sounds like a cable or something. And there's lots of Doppler going on in there.
Yeah, there is.
Kind of reminds me of how they got the laser pistol sounds in Star Wars. They went out into the desert and they had these high tension cables that they would hit with a wrench or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. And those electrical cables, like I know this was a train not powered by electrical, so there's no cabling there. But I think in the next recording this was a train I recorded just really quickly because it was coming. And I was actually recording a hip hop artist in a tunnel for a commissioned project. His name was Yappy, and he was rapping there. And I took him into the tunnel for the effect. And he's a young guy, and he raps in his ethnic language. I'm getting a little distracted here, but what's really cool about having done that with him in the tunnel is it made him, because a lot of young rappers and musicians in general are doing music on their own. And I remember when we finished working together, he realized that all the world's a studio. You can go into any environment, just bring a recorder and record yourself.
I'm with him. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And Paul, I think, you doing a lot of outdoor events probably know exactly what I'm talking about how the environment you're in really influences the sound you're creating.
Oh, it sure does. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Because you work indoors and outdoors.
Rain, sunshine, humidity, all
Right.
those have effects on the sound.
Do you actually have to mix differently for humidity?
Yeah. Well, there's certain the frequencies 2K and above are certainly a little more pronounced with more humidity.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
I thought they might be hindered. So they're
Well, that's what you would think. Well,
That's what I would
when
think,
you
too.
have more water in the air, right?
Yeah.
And sound transmission through water is
more
faster.
efficient, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I know it's sort of the opposite of what you would think.
Fascinating.
Cool.
I'll have to think about that when I'm out recording. It
Yeah.
must certainly would affect what I'm doing as well. Occasionally, when it's really humid, we'll take silica, sand that powder, and put it in these little cloth bags and hang it in the proximity of the microphone to dry the air out.
Oh, just around the proximity of the mic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, meanwhile, back at the ranch, the other train that I think is running with electrical cables and that sound, therefore, is more present, was this train that I recorded just outside the tunnel where I had recorded Yappy the rapper.
What was really cool about listening to that is that here where we're sitting in this cafe, they have lights that are like a chase scene.
Right, an
And
LED.
it was
yeah.
going with the sound of the train going through. It was really like, how you see the shadowing
Yeah.
of the lights coming, the sun coming through.
This is a neat cafe.
Yeah.
That's true. It's interesting because sound, on its own, like I mentioned before, you try to seek out sound that's hyper realistic.
Yeah.
Because you're robbed of the visual. You don't have that visual.
Right.
In fact, you can get away with some pretty lousy sound when you've got the visual there.
Correct.
And well, not lousy, but it doesn't have to be as dramatic and clear and ever present. But it's true that the sounds you listen to that have been removed from the visual, and then there's another alternate visual, can
Yeah.
really impact
exactly.
the way you perceive the sound. That's cool. So there's a lot of mountains in Taiwan. Actually, there's really high mountains, up to 4,000 meters. Taiwan is a really high island, and in some of these mountain places, there's trains that are now tourist attractions, but they used to be for logging purposes, and they're really old style and pretty neat. So this is a recording of one of those old mountain trains. I really love when the train starts moving. Hear all those linkages tighten up.
Yeah.
That sweet little hoot. You can just feel it like pulling.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the odd guy saying hello. He sees me there recording. That clacking is an element that I was once tasked with composing and producing a song about an area that had a train like that. And so I wanted to use the clacking of the rails as a kind of a rhythmic element in the song. And so the next thing I'm going to share with you is actually, it's not binaural immersive, but it's using those railway elements within a song. So you can see how it could be, tapped on to provide a rhythmic quality. So again, we're starting off with the crowd getting in the train and the turnstile.
Yeah.
There the train gets going. Doing lots of sort of train-related sounds, and the bass is I noticed you were playing air bass there because it's also got that that drive, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
You've been listening to part 1 of 2 episodes. Be sure to catch part 2, the conclusion of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, as we complete every episode with a song from the new binaural album Full Circle, produced in Full Circle Sound. We'd like to end this one with Chase the Clouds Away.
Carry me away on the wings of a great white dove, far above the clouds, the wind and the storm. Because I feel so misplaced. The love I knew has been erased. Need to feel that sunshine on my face. Feel the love today. And chase my clouds away. Take me back to the days when she was near. Felt so good and warm, shelter from the storm. Carry me away on the wings of a golden love. Leave this wasted home to find a purer soul. Because I need to feel her face, to touch her in a deep embrace. day. Chase my clouds away. Chase my clouds away.
We'd like to thank the government of Yukon for sponsoring in part this program and look forward to seeing you soon in the Binaural Cafe. I'm Matthew Lien.